What is up, y'all? Hope you're doing well. We're here for our weekly manifestation oracle message. Quick announcement. My birthday is Saturday. So if you guys wanted to buy me a drink for my birthday, for all the days I show up and work hard, you can download my 2025 prediction series for $10. That is almost enough for a drink. It's like less than a drink. And you will get like 14 hours of content. So it's a really, really amazing workshop. I poured my blood, sweat, and tears and heart and soul into it. And I have been listening and watching the videos and feeling really encouraged and really guided. And basically, you'll get a yearly overview with channeled messages and a big Celtic cross spread for the year and journal questions to help you workshop the themes coming up. And then you will also have a video that is broken down into quarterly readings for the seasons. So winter, spring, summer, fall. And those also have corresponding journal questions that will help you sort of go deeper into the work of the themes of the seasons. And then you will have monthly readings, and those also have journal questions. And I use a lot of decks that I don't use in our normal, regularly scheduled programming. So it's kind of a fresh set of cards for you guys. But it's a really amazing workshop. I'm really proud of it. It's only $10. What happens is that you'll go to my Stan store through the link below, and you'll see the 2025 prediction series. It's like me writing an oyster mushroom in front of a pyramid in a nebula. And once you purchase that, you will be emailed a link to a private playlist on YouTube, and you'll find the journal questions under the videos. But that would be a great way to support the channel and a really appreciated way to say happy birthday to me, and you'd be giving yourself a gift. So that will also be a gift to me too. So that would be deeply appreciated. I did get my taxes done today, very last minute, and then they announced that Tennessee had an extension for their taxes until November because of tornadoes and all that, but I got a return, so I didn't want to postpone it. I was just like, you know what, I just want to be ahead of the fuckery, so I'm just going to go on and do it, and I did, and I get a return, so I'm taking money from the government. Okay, well, first card out, we have Break Free. Try different ventures and experiences as a way to grow and learn. Very exciting. I've been daydreaming about what it must be like to live in other countries. I've been romanticizing Europe today. I'm like, can I come there, please? Yeah, so download the 2025 prediction series so I can buy land in Europe. But trying different things, trying new hobbies, new ventures. If you have a business or something that you are trying to manifest, maybe try some different approaches. I actually did buy a course on making your reels go viral. I'm sure it's the same douchey information that all of them say, but I'm going to give it a shot. I just haven't had time. Everything's been really busy, but keep an eye out for maybe something that keeps showing up for you, and maybe, consider looking into it. Also know that the algorithms and the microphones and all our devices are always listening to what we're saying and always like looking at what we're clicking on. So you're going to have those targeted ads. So that's not always the universe telling you things. Sometimes it's just the marketing telling you things. But sometimes something might keep presenting itself. Right. There was a point where I kept seeing this vitamin from the Beverly Hills MD, like Beverly Hills Plastic Surgery Center, and it was called Dermal Repair Complex. And it actually, I sat one day and I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch this YouTube commercial. I'm going to let them give me the presentation. I'm going to hear them out. I'm going to hear the science behind it and see what I think. As it turns out, that vitamin solves most of my issues. It is wonderful for giving you youthful skin. It blocks the aging hormone, which is the hormone that makes you start aging, producing less collagen, and causes hair loss in men and women. And so by taking this vitamin, it also like by just by chance or by proxy, by accident, it also staves off perimenopause too. So it's like I had never have hot flashes or any of that. Don't have night sweats anymore. I used to have night sweats for like my whole life. My hair is thickened up because I tend to suffer from hair loss if I get like way stressed. And I also just saw an expose about how most of the shampoos at the grocery store or the pharmacy, actually like the name brand, and even some of the ones that look like a cutesy like little brand, but they're really owned by the big brands, they're designed to make your hair fall out, so that they can sell you the other shampoo that they own that like makes your like promises hair regrowth. So the two shampoos that they said are actually family owned and they haven't been sued for hair loss and other things are Mane and Tell, which that is like the OG of like people being like, this is amazing shampoo, it's good for your hair. That's the one that supposedly they use for horses also, and it's got like a lot of protein. It's really good for you. And then there was a brand called Sugar, I think, and it was family owned and like non-cruel, all of those things like vegan and whatnot. So just a word to the wise. But yeah, so just giving that a chance, I found, oh my gosh, this is a really great vitamin and it really does make your skin look really good. And also it cushions your joints. Like I was getting really crunchy in some of my joints, and when I take this vitamin, it really, really provides a lot of cushion. So I'm not an affiliate or anything, but I just like really love to share when something like really works for me. But it's by the Beverly Hills MD Plastic Surgery Center, I think. And then the substance or the supplement is called Dermal Repair Complex. And I would say order it directly from their website, because if you go through the sales funnel, you can get like, the more jars you get, the cheaper it gets. But be careful at the end. Don't pick the subscription. They're like, subscribe and save. Don't do that, because then it gives you that order every month. So I had to call and like figure it all out. So don't do that. Just get the multiple jars at once. But long story short, sorry, I had to give that product recommendation, but try different ventures and experiences as a way to grow. Even just learning new things or exploring new areas of study, it just makes you a more versatile and interesting and complex person with multiple skills and talents. And it gives you this unique pairing of, I don't know, like virtues and characteristics and things that set you aside from other people, that set you apart when you have different talents and different skills and different interests. Explore your options. It's time to look at other possibilities. It's a good time to make changes. So if you've been feeling frisky, like changing it up, making a change, putting yourself out there for like a new job or something, or changing up your routine, maybe take a chance. I feel like I just feel a sudden urge to do a lot of different things recently. And I feel emboldened to kind of want to explore some things that I'm curious about. So that could lead to something new, something that could be life-changing. So be open to breaking out of your routine. Be open to putting yourself out there to do something different, to take a chance, to switch it up and change it up. All right, what else do we need to know? Healing the heart. So you're a powerful healer. Keep up the great work. So of course, all of the work that we do is interrelated with the things that we're manifesting in our life. When we heal issues with our mother and father and the wounds that we have sustained from growing up under their parentage, that actually has an effect on the kind of relationships that we attract and the kind of opportunities that we attract and the way that people perceive us. They can feel our energy. So when we have healed our own self-worth and we feel good about ourselves and we feel worthy and valuable, and we're, standing tall with our head held high, then they perceive us differently. They value us differently. They put more value on us. So it comes from the inside, and our light shines from the inside out, and people can pick up on that energy even if they don't realize it. Now, one thing about healing, okay, so I always like to keep you guys informed and abreast about what kind of holidays and open windows of cosmic gates and time we're in. So just after Passover, we immediately go into a 40-day period called the Omer. And it's so funny because if you study Judaism or like Jewish Kabbalah, it's like most of the year we're in challenging times. It's like we get like 2 or 3 days of like, oh, this is easy. And then, oh, and now we have a challenge. So the Omer is like this 40-day period that corresponds to the 40 years that the Israelites were in the desert. Or at least I imagine it is, because in the timeline, we just went through Passover, we're exiting Egypt, and then that would put us in the desert for 40 years. So what this period does is it sends us through challenges and tests and triggers that offer us opportunities to see the parts of ourselves that are still bound by the ego. Where is our pride still tripping us up? Where are our anger issues still tripping us up? Where is our envy and our jealousy still tripping us up? Where is our victim mentality tripping us up? Where's our judgment, our projection still tripping us up? Where is our evil eye, our evil tongue? Like, it's not until we're triggered and we're set off and our panties are in a twist that we can see these things about ourselves. So we, reflexively bemoan when we're going through challenges or irritable things, or even, these days, terrifying and difficult things. But what that does is it reveals to us the parts of our soul that are still shrouded in that negativity, so that we can break that negativity and permanently transform that darkness into goodness and turn that bitterness into sweetness. And so we can change our consciousness, we can change our mindset. And if we change our consciousness and change our mindset, then that can change our heart, and that can change our experience of life. And that is the way that we prepare the vessel as a channel for miracles. And so these challenges are really opportunities to reveal miracles. And that was what the desert offered the Israelites. Even though they were in a wilderness of uncertainty, they also experienced miracles the likes of which people of history have never witnessed again. Except for maybe when people were around Jesus, when he was performing miracles and healings. Like, they were experiencing that level of miracles and witnessing them firsthand. But that's not something that happens super often, throughout history and time. Every now and then there are these like crazy miracles that people have been witness to. And then there are miracles that happen every day. It's just that we don't perceive them. We just blow them off, or we don't notice, or we don't have the mindset or the eyes or the ears to hear and understand and take it in. And we also don't know all the miracles that are happening behind the scenes that we don't even know about, right? Like, we don't understand that time that we got held up at that light and we were running late, that actually was a miracle because we didn't get in that wreck, or we didn't hit that person who was crossing the street and then have to go to jail for vehicular manslaughter or whatever it is. But there's so many things that we have no idea, that the angels are going before us and our steps are ordered, and God is always providing us a way to connect with the light, to connect with protection and provision and blessing. It's just that we don't see it. We don't understand the miracles that we already live and move and have our being in. And so, when we have an open eyes to see, especially that singular eye that is open to be able to perceive and see, and our hearts are open and we can connect with gratitude, that really opens up a channel for miracles, and it makes us a magnet for even more miracles when we can see the miracle and proclaim God's goodness and be so grateful for it. That actually makes us a magnet for more miracles. But when we get in like crusty moods, and I am so quick to turn into a salt. like we have this game at work where we have like a daily question, and there's like we ask these questions like, what tea would you be, or like that recently it was like, what sauce or condiment would you be if you were a sauce, and I was like, I'd be vinegar. I always want something, some flavor that's like a little bit sour, a little bit bitter, a little salty, but also very versatile, very delicious. Can be, used in many ways. As a tea blend, I was dandelion, rose, and toasted coconut, which that's what I'm drinking now, and it's delicious. You can taste all those different flavors, but yeah, I'm very aware of how I can be hilarious 1 minute and saucy, and then just a sour crust the next. I'm enraged. I'm an Aries, Libra, Cancer. It's, there's a lot of feelings going on, and I get really fired up and antagonize my own self. So, but yeah, well, we got to get ahead of that though. And we've got to see it, and we've got to see it without judging ourselves and being super like down on ourselves and like beating ourselves up about it. It's like we just need to see it, accept it, own it, and do our best to change this attitude and these feelings. And I've been working on these things really hard ever since I started Kabbalah classes. Like, they help you get so much more focused in and aware of these things about yourself and how they are interacting and functioning and producing the life that you're experiencing. And so it really helps you workshop your life. And the more I can overcome these things, good things do start happening. And when I get in these crusty moods, then I open myself up to chaos. I start attracting chaos, and it can start off as just knocking my tea over when I'm on the way out the door. And then that like snowballs into like more irritating things at work. Like, I'll drop a glass, I have to clean that up. And then I'm like, start getting bad tables that come in. And I'm like, oh, I'm spinning. I'm snowballing out of control. I need to get it together. So healing on the inside does create your experience on the outside. And so the more that we can refine our vessel to become more like Christ and become more like God, not like in that egoic way of the way that tyrants think that they're God, and like that ego pride way, but like in the way that it is unconditionally loving and unaffected and sharing and creative and nurturing. Those aspects of God, the compassion, the wisdom, the fairness, the justness, the mercy of God, the richness, the wisdom. And the understanding, because wisdom it can be cold without understanding. So it all pours out, and what is within you becomes your outer experience as well. So you're a powerful healer. Keep up the great work. So maybe you have been working hard, and God sees your hard work and is honoring that, and maybe you are about to be very blessed. Let's hope so. All right. We have You're Being Helped. We had this like in 3 different versions of this card last week, so I love that. Heaven is working behind the scenes to help you, even if you don't see the results yet. So remember all those behind the scenes miracles. Behind the scenes miracles. I thought it was a miracle tonight. I had a really hot man at my table, and I was like, man, if he was available, I might actually like go out on a date with him. And that never happens. Of course he had flown in from Boston. He wasn't like a local, but he seemed like he might be single. And I was like, that's an even more miracle. But he was geographically unavailable. So too bad, but you never know, right? I keep thinking maybe Jonathan Rumi will come into the restaurant. Apparently, he plays Jesus in The Chosen, and I guess he is a Nashvilleian, but he's not here a lot because they're always out on location filming and like then promoting the show and things. But I don't know if I'd really like him as a person, but I would like to meet him and find out. If anybody knows him, send him my way. You're being helped. I love it. Heaven is helping behind the scenes, even if you don't see the results yet. Just like those miracles that we don't see a lot of the time, but they're happening, they're there. All right, let's get a little bit more insight on breaking free. What do we need to know about breaking free? Ooh, the wise woman of the Wonderland, integrity and compromise. So following your true self, compromising, maybe like not compromising who you are or your values, but maybe getting out of your rigid mindset or your rigid routine of how you think things have to be. Like, for instance, recently I, was doing these daily 1-card pulls, but then I was like, you know what? I really want to get more into the Psalms and share the Psalms. And so instead of just like making another content piece that I had to like add onto the pile, I just like switched it up. I switched up the routine. And I don't know, I don't know how people are responding to it, but sometimes like people really love them. And, I guess it's just like the cards, like some are hit or miss. So compromise with your rigidity. Break out of that rigid routine and try something new, try something different, try, changing it up a little bit and taking a risk. But also be really true to yourself. Have integrity. Me and my friend at work were just talking about how like he knows this influencer woman and and he was asking me about a podcast or something. And I was like, honestly, I can't take another freaking white chick going, oh, that is so good, into another microphone. Like, I cannot stand it. It makes me want to break a window, honestly. And he started laughing. He goes, you are so right. You are so right. But he's talking about this woman who, I don't know, she's like all about good living and how she brags about being self-made, but she was like the daughter of a very wealthy person. She inherited a bunch of money. Like her husband lives off of her, like inherited wealth. It's like, that's not self-made. You're just given this like free time and opportunity and all of the resources in the world. You're not self-made. Somebody gave you all that, and then you got to make a podcast. And then everybody's like, oh, that's so wonderful. And he was talking about how, like, I don't know, she was just like exaggerating this story about how she was an alcoholic and a drug addict. He's like, she wasn't. She just went out sometimes and like did all the party stuff that everybody else does. And then like she was like made a huge dramatic thing about how like they were out to dinner and he ordered an Irish coffee and she almost took a drink and he was like, no, there's alcohol in it. And she like made like this whole episode about how she almost took a drink of the coffee that had the alcohol in it and what would have happened. And like, it just went on and on. And then he's like, she sells out, she goes like gives merch out for every season of her podcast. And then like when it sells out, like it does every season, like she acts so shocked and surprised and cries and everybody eats it up and then they buy more. And I'm like, I know. And that's what people want. And I can't do that because I'm too real. I'm the person who's like leather jacket, middle finger. I just tell you like it is. I can't pretend to be that person. And he was like, that's why I love you. And that's why you can't be that way. But you got to have integrity, right? Even at the cost of not reaching as many people because you're not so commercially fuckable is what the industry calls it, right? You don't have that mass fuckability, that commercial appeal. I would rather be real and true to myself and have integrity than sell out. I remember I was part of a group of people who auditioned. I was invited by a producer that I knew from the industry. I used to work in TV and film. And I auditioned as a tarot reader for like a show that they were going to put out. And I remember auditioning thinking like, well, I've got to jump on an opportunity like this, right? And I made it to like the final like choices. But I remember like wavering and thinking like, gosh, I have so little respect for reality stars. Once the industry gets a hold of them and they start changing their brand and then they start becoming these little push notifications under the screen and it's like coming up next and they're all like doing these like stupid things and they just turned into these plastic people. And not only that, it was going to be for TLC, which is the most exploitive garbage channel. And I'm like, I really hope I don't get this. And I remember the guy that I was dating at the time, that he lost it over that. He was like, that is the moment I lost all respect for you, because he thought I gave up. But what he didn't understand was that I had a backbone and I have an identity and I have integrity. And I wasn't going to sell out for what probably wasn't that great of a salary anyway. And I'm not going to water down my voice, because once you're in the hands of producers, they don't want your input. They want you to be their puppet. And they don't have their own creativity, so they want to take yours and then be like, oh, this is a great idea, but how about we do all this instead? And so I know, I've been there. I've watched it happen over and over and over again. And I know that the people that go on camera that fight for their image, they really have to put up a battle. And then the producers are off in a corner being like, well, she's being difficult. And it's like, no, this person doesn't want to be portrayed as an asshole. And you're trying to like force them into this character arc because that drives your agenda, right? So break free, try something new, try different ventures, experiences as a way to grow. But remember, have integrity whilst also being able to compromise in positive ways that break you out of your rigidity and like break you free from your current consciousness and thinking, that get you out of the box a little bit in a positive growth way, not in a selling yourself out or going against your values. Never compromise your values, never compromise your beliefs, never compromise your spirit or your soul. But sometimes our ego and our subconscious fears and beliefs, they keep us trapped. And so sometimes we need to break out of that rigidity. And sometimes we get used to a routine and we think we have to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And it's not working. And so sometimes we need to break it up a little bit. But whilst doing that, maintain your health, your healthy integrity and compromise in healthy ways, and maintain your wisdom. And the like wise woman of the Wonderland, like think of a Wonderland. When Alice went to Wonderland, it was like this new world, and she was in awe of all of these, the way that she saw things. It was like a whole nother world. It was like upside down and inside out. Everything was odd and topsy-turvy and cattywampus. Try to look at the world through a different lens and see things differently. All right, explore your options. Let's see. Ooh, Queen of the Light, illumination, a light, enlightenment, and celebration. So we are light bearers. We are light bringers. We are light workers. If you're on this channel, you got to be to some degree, or else I don't know what you would find interesting about watching these videos, right? And these are very dark times, and we have to carry these lights for others through this darkness. And we have to be able to maintain that light and to keep it shining. And it can be really heavy and dark anymore and really frightening. And so we have to have that strength in our relationship with God and with our Creator and with our angelic help, knowing that we are protected. And God will protect us, and God has a plan for us. And whatever we're divinely ordained to do, we will be protected. And that purpose for our life, that mission, until it's complete, our time is not up. And so having that kind of inner peace, it doesn't matter what's going on, because you have that peace inside that God is in control and that God's taking care of you. And wherever you're taken, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you're there for a purpose. You're there to reveal light in that moment. I remember when I was little, I had a dream that I would be a light in dark places. And that has been true for me my entire life, in both metaphysical and figurative ways, and metaphorical ways, and literal ways. Because in film, I was a person for a long time. I was a lighting tech. It was a grip and an electric. And so I would be lighting up the darkness quite literally. But often in my life, I have been the person that's the wise person in the group, or, bringing insight and encouragement and illumination to people wherever I go, whether it's an exchange at a table that's brief or ongoing with a group of people who I work with or I'm with for a while. But I've always been this sort of nomad through life. And I feel like I'm never anywhere for a very long time. And the people that are in my life are always being like kind of coming through. And I feel like I don't have roots or people that go way back with, it's really weird. But I think it's because I'm supposed to be spread out and have interactions with many people. Oh, y'all aren't going to believe this. We've had this for every week that I have used this deck. And that has been for 3 or 4 weeks now. The Winged Wise Ones. Our angelic help is here. What did I just say? Everywhere we go, we have angels that are protecting us. Our steps are ordered by the Lord because we have a purpose. And we are protected and we are divinely directed and we are provided for. Always declare God's goodness. Always acknowledge the blessings in your life, no matter how big or how small. Always acknowledge the miracles. I was even telling people at work today, I was like, I don't know why or how, but I do know why or how, but I have the food that I have, it lasts an unnatural long amount of time. It's crazy. Every year I keep my pumpkin, or at least one pumpkin from Halloween, and I see how long it will last in my care just by being in the corner of my room, corner of my living room. And one year I had a pumpkin last almost 2 full years. It was like a year and 11 months by the time it finally cracked. And that was because I had that weird moisture problem in my house because of the air conditioner. So I've still got pumpkin now from September, October, and it still looks perky as a spring chicken. Love it. So you are protected, you are preserved, you're provided for. Angelic help and miraculous aid. We've been talking all this reading about miracles being revealed. And, just your angels can't always help you unless you ask them. And so I make it a routine to invite my angels into my day every morning. And I set a circle of protection around myself, and I say the Lord's Prayer, and I call on the angels. And I honestly think that has saved my street in all the tornadoes and crazy weather that we've had. It's just I think it sets this protection, this bubble of protection around me that I always feel like I'm in. And then you're being helped. Heaven is helping you get out of the way, or the heaven is working behind the scenes to help you, even if you don't see the results yet. The Lady of the Mirror, reflection and non-judgment. So going back to the beginning of the video, we were talking about evil eye and evil tongue. What triggers you to cast evil eye on a person? Evil eye can be judging someone. It can be projecting. It can be worrying about someone. That is called passive evil eye, which that can put bad vibes, bad juju on someone. And it's hard not to worry about people right now, isn't it? When you care. So that's why you should, when you catch yourself worrying, just pray. Pray for them. Pray for their protection. Thank God for their protection and the angelic support around them. I was praying for all the people that I'm aware of in my community that could be in any kind of, I don't know, sticky situations right now, today. What else is evil eye? Envy, jealousy, covetousness, wanting something they have, being mad that you don't have it, not liking someone. When we are hating on those Tesla trucks, that's evil eye. I flipped one off the other day, or I did a thumbs down. I couldn't help myself. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to have to pay for that. Some kind of chaos. I know it. And then evil tongue, when we speak negative speech. And same thing. It's like when we are gossiping about someone in a negative way, when we are speaking idly about things that don't matter, we're just wasting words. When we are speaking negatively about ourselves or our situation, when we're like talking about what we're, talking about fearful things and things we're afraid of, it's really hard to watch evil tongue. And even when we talk about being worried about someone or scared for someone, like my mom means well because she loves me, but she is constantly like verbalizing her catastrophizing and her fearful visions about what could go wrong, and like things that could happen to me. And I get it because we all do it, but it's easier to notice it when someone's doing it to you and you're aware of it and you're like, oh my God, you're actually speaking curses on me right now. Would you stop doing that, please? And none of us mean to do it. So we have to catch ourselves before we start speaking and planting seeds we don't want to grow. And it's really hard right now with all of the things going on in the world, to stay informed and to help others have like the information that they need without going and spiraling into evil eye, evil tongue, evil eye, evil tongue. Even if it is passive and well-meaning, that worry, it can just put negativity around someone. That's why the Kabbalists and many other spiritual beliefs suggest that if you have an illness or whatever, like not to tell people about it and not to talk about it a lot, because people will worry and they'll start imagining like the worst case scenarios. So you need to be careful about who and what you tell and you share, because you want to make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people that have the consciousness that can focus on your healing and your well-being and being blessed and lifted up and protected and guided and all of those things. So the Lady of the Mirror, reflection and non-judgment. So as we are in these 40 days of the Omer, these challenges, when we get triggered and irritated and angry and scared and angry and raged and anxious, it's like we need to take a step back and be the observer of our thoughts and be in a state of non-judgment and just be able to say like, oh, okay, I see that I'm going there. It's so interesting. Why is this in my movie? Why is this happening? Okay, so the creator is showing me this so I can see this part of myself. And so now what? What do I do with this? Like what is my soul calling me to do with this moment? How do I heal beyond this? How do I transcend this? How do I awaken a higher consciousness right now? And how do I change my heart to awaken a more Christ-like heart in myself? And so it's not about judging yourself and beating yourself up and feeling shame and guilt. It's about, being aware. It's like being in a classroom where you're like, oh, okay, I have found this in my studies. Oh, okay, so I need to work on this part of my homework and not judge ourselves for it. All right, you guys, that is all for tonight. I'm so excited. I got my taxes done. I might go if I have time tomorrow, I might go to the Apple store. If not tomorrow, the next day. And be aware that the economic blackout is this weekend. It's the 18th, 19th, and 20th. It's the same as the one we did before, where we didn't shop at all in big brands or like any of the food chains, grocery stores. Like, get all the stuff you need earlier in the week. You do your stuff Thursday. Don't go crazy shopping. Just do your normal whatever, but don't spend any money unless it's absolutely essential or in a little family business throughout the weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The first time we just did the 24-hour blackout, but this time it's all 3 days. Try as best you can to avoid spending money in chains, in big box stores. Like if you really need something, like go to a little family owned like pharmacy or a little family owned hardware store. There's always like one in a town square, right? If you need to go to get food, like don't go to a fast food place or like a chain restaurant, like go to a small family owned place. Support those small businesses. If you can support an immigrant business, even better, right? But try to avoid spending money that's going to make the uber rich richer, right? Because this is our economic resistance where we are just being inactive, right? We're not causing a big ruckus. We're not doing a mass gathering. There's nothing that we're doing that can cause a blowback, right? We're just not spending. You can't, they can't do anything to someone who didn't do anything, right? So that's the smartest way to impact what they care about, which is the bottom line. So if you're wanting to participate in that blackout is happening the 18th, 19th, and 20th. But don't forget to download your 2025 prediction series because I'm as small business as you get. Like practically not profitable at all. So, and that will just be buying me a drink for my birthday. All right, y'all. Ciao.